This movie begins with Jem hanging onto a rope from a helicopter. The helicopter hovers over a stormy sea. Jem is on a rescue mission. The pilot warns that it's not safe for him to land. Ignoring the call, Jem takes off his communication aid. Within a minute, he's in the sea, fighting to save a drowning person. Jem is later seen camping at a seashore. His demeanor is somber as he sits by a small fire for warmth. He pulls out a broken gadget, staring at it as though wishing it could be restored. In a flashback, properly shaved and in town, Jem enters a pub with his friends, Nail and Meat, for drinks. Just then, Alara, a charming young lady, walks into the pub with her friends. Jem's attention is fixed on her until she notices him. It's obvious Alara's interest is gradually increasing, but Nail and Meat advise Jem to stay back and not approach her. Jem, however, is determined. As he takes a step toward her, more friends join Alara, and she hugs one of the men. Jem hesitates, wondering if the man is her boyfriend. When Alara and her friends prepare to leave, Jem mimes some words, silently pleading with her to stay. Alara stays occupied with her friends, but whispers goodbye to Jem as she leaves. All hope seems lost until Alara turns back and walks up to Jem. They have a friendly chat, but Jem is too stunned to express what he truly wants to say. After she leaves, Jem follows her, wanting to confirm her relationship status. He's cautious, wanting to avoid asking someone's partner out on a date. Alara laughs, finding his concern outdated. Jem tries to make her acquaintance but struggles to find the right words. Alara is interested in talking to him but feels let down by his lack of directness. To keep the interaction going, Jem introduces a game, hoping it will lead to an exchange of numbers. Alara agrees, intrigued. The scene shifts back to Jem at the seashore, still somber. He holds a half-torn map, caressing it as though it holds deep meaning for him. Way before finding himself at the seashore, Jem encounters Alara at the museum. It's their first time meeting or speaking since the pub. Jem politely questions why she hasn't returned his calls. Alara, unimpressed, retorts that he only called twice and at odd hours. She reminds him that she had called first, shortly after their initial meeting. Jem blurts out that he must have been out of signal range that day. Realizing her frustration, he attempts to make amends, but Alara seems indifferent. Jem is holding an artifact, claiming the museum might need it, a thinly veiled excuse to see Alara. Unmoved, Alara calls a colleague to assist him, clearly attempting to escape the interaction. Jem hands the artifact to the colleague but refuses to give up, continuing to plead with Alara. He asks her out on a date and requests something on which to write the location. Alara, with no paper at hand, offers him a map. Jem writes on it, rips off a piece, and hands it back to her. That evening, Jem grows impatient while waiting for Alara to arrive. When she finally shows up, they spend quality time together. Jem opens up, revealing that he's a naval officer stationed in Uzunada, a town near Foka. At the park, Alara shares her story. She's an archaeologist who moved to Foka with her mother 6 months before her mother's passing 3 years ago. Her father left when she was still a child, and she has no idea where he is. Jem relates to her loss, sharing that his mother also passed away when he was young. His father abandoned him soon after, leaving him without parents or siblings. He produces Alara's document, teasing her as she struggles to take it back. Jem mentions something she wrote about a deep place of the heart, which she calls the Blue Cave. The park lights up, and the carousel casts a romantic glow. Jem, in his soldierly charm, showers Alara with sweet words, which she enjoys. Their connection deepens, leading to a passionate kiss. Back in the present, Jem emerges from his thoughts. He leaves the seashore and wanders into the rocky hills, where he encounters Pinar, a mysterious woman he's unsure is human or spirit. With a friendly yet coy demeanor, Pinar asks why Jem is wandering the mountains alone. Jem brushes off any suggestion that he's on a journey of self-discovery, firmly rejecting the notion of her playing the role of a sage, offering him revelations. Pinar knows why Jem is in the mountains. She explains that people who have been broken by the loss of a loved one often visit. Gently, she encourages Jem not to be too hard on himself, assuring him that whatever tragedy occurred wasn't his fault. With Jem's consent, Pinar utters a prayer for him. As he closes his eyes, he experiences a fleeting epiphany and feels a slight sense of relief. Pinar reveals that her mother used to say the same prayer. Jem's face lights up with a smile as he recalls his mother saying those exact words to him. Jem's memory shifts to an archaeological site, a place Alara had always wanted to visit with him. He remembers them spending time exploring together and then sharing intimate moments. Then, he recalls a dinner with Alara's friends that took a sour turn. Demed and others struggle to understand Jem's job as a soldier, a man who takes lives. The questions pour in relentlessly, despite Alara's attempts to intervene. Someone asks if Jem is aware of the risks of his job and the possibility of his own passing. Jem answers calmly that he is aware and ready for it. This terrifies Alara, who imagines the pain his loved ones would endure if he left. This is all part of Jem's dream, and he wakes up on the cold mountain ground. Jem's memories continue. He recalls taking Alara to the mountains and showing her a beautiful house perched high up. He promises her it's theirs. Alara, surprised, questions why he's gotten a house for them. Jem reveals his plan and reveals a proposal ring. Alara has always believed they can't be together because of the danger inherent in his job. Jem assures her he's willing to sacrifice for her. He'll resign after his 10th year of service. Alara finds this reasonable, but teasingly remarks that they might still not work. She doesn't explicitly accept the proposal, but the passionate kiss they share suggests otherwise. Back in the present, Jem continues his lonely walk in the mountains. He comes across a stranded dog and rescues it. The dog becomes his companion as he shares his memories, telling the dog how much he misses his late wife, Alara. Jem recalls how he and Alara had planned to visit the Blue Cave. Alara, who had visited once before, had wanted Jem to experience it with her. Jem loved Alara deeply and would do anything to make her happy. Alara had described the Blue Cave as a place that radiated a unique, positive energy, one that overwhelmed the soul. She confessed to Jem that his presence in her life reminded her of the cave. For Alara, the Blue Cave was both terrifying and exhilarating, just like her love for Jem. Still, on his journey to the Blue Cave, Jem pauses to study the map. A group of friends passes by, but one of them, Zeynep, stops to talk to him. She urges Jem to join them, pointing out that he's on the wrong path. Despite his initial hostility, Jem eventually gives in and follows the group. They arrive at a cliff, and Zeynep suggests they dive into the sea. Without hesitation, Jem takes up the challenge and dives in. To his astonishment, he finds Alara in the water. They kiss beneath the surface, but as he resurfaces, Jem realizes he has just kissed Zeynep. Jem's thoughts drift to a misunderstanding with Alara. She accuses him of cheating because a female colleague constantly texts him, and even Alara herself. Alara is stressed and hurt, believing that Jem must have encouraged such behavior. Jem denies it, insisting he's only trying to help a colleague in need, but Alara doesn't buy it. To her, Jem's compulsion to save everyone jeopardizes the good things in his life, including their relationship. Pulled back to the present, Jem sits apart from the group's bonfire. Zeynep approaches, offering him a drink. Though he accepts it, he asks her not to start a conversation. Zeynep only wants him to join the group by the fire to keep warm, but Jem prefers to stay alone. Looking directly into his eyes, Zeynep shares that she, too, has lost a loved one. She explains that she took this same journey to find herself, something Jem insists he isn't doing. He has no interest in discovering himself. Unbeknownst to Jem, the drink he's consumed has been laced with a substance. As it takes effect, his vision blurs. Zeynep and her group begin beating drums and performing a spiritual dance around him, caressing him as he struggles to stay conscious. Jem sees vivid flashes of Alara. The memories swing to a time when he was on a mission, hanging from a helicopter, attempting to save someone during a storm. His thoughts shift to the argument he had with Alara before that mission. When Jem told her about his deployment, Alara had another meltdown, worrying about how their unborn children would cope with his frequent absences. In her frustration, she resolved never to have kids with him. Hurt but determined to reassure her, Jem revealed his surprise. He had decided to resign after completing the current mission. He even showed her the documents to prove it. Overcome with emotion, Alara tearfully confessed her love for him. Jem reciprocated, promising to do anything to keep her happy. Jem wakes up alone by a riverside. Zeynep and her group are gone. He pulls himself together and continues his journey deeper into the mountains, his mind filled with memories of Alara, times they made love under the rain and in the car. Eventually, Jem stumbles upon a man, badly wounded and pinned to the ground by a tree branch, piercing through his body. Jem tries to help, but realizes it's beyond his ability. He runs off to find help but comes up empty-handed. The wilderness is desolate and unforgiving. The injured man, Harun, speaks through his pain, sharing regrets about his life. He admits to being a failed husband and father, haunted by his upbringing. Harun laments that his father beat him relentlessly, a pattern he repeated with his son. Now, he is left to confront his mistakes in his final moments. Jem can resonate with Harun's words. His dad did the same thing to him. He remembers the countless times his dad him. Harun then offers Jem some friendly advice. Never have kids. Haroon can't believe Jem is a soldier. He assumes Jem must have the necessary skills to save him from his current predicament. Jem's excuse of being out of service doesn't cut it for Haroon. Jem then opens up, revealing that his journey to the Blue Cave is to find a way to be with his beloved Alara. Since her passing, Jem has felt useless, both to himself and his environment. Before he can finish his sad tale, Haroon gives up the ghost. Jem is thrown back in time. He's sitting in the doctor's office with Alara, waiting for her test results. The doctor delivers the devastating news. Alara has heart cancer. Both are stunned, and tears roll down their cheeks. They say nothing but hold each other's hands tightly, silent comfort in the face of it all. Alara's passing shatters Jem. He hasn't stopped loving her since the moment they met. Back in the mountains, Jem struggles to set up a tent amid a storm when something catches his eye. A mysterious child, appearing out of nowhere. Intrigued, he follows the child until he falls into the sea. Alara had marked a spot on the map, and now Jem finds himself staring at it. He swims into the area and is elated to discover the Blue Cave. The child leads him deeper, through a door, into the heart of the cave. Inside, Jem finds Melik. Melik explains Jem's situation, clearing up the confusion. His earlier attempt to save someone had gone wrong. That incident ended in tragedy when Jem hit his head on a rock. Though he was rescued and brought back to the helicopter, he had lost consciousness. Everything Jem experienced, the journey, the people, the emotions, was all an illusion created by his unconscious mind. The in-between space, between life and demise, allowed him to craft a story. None of it was real. Alara hadn't even passed away in reality. Melik explains further. Pinar and Haroon symbolize Jem's parents. Jem reflects on these encounters, and it all makes sense now. In reality, Jem is still in the helicopter, as Nail desperately works to revive him. There's a bridge between Jem's imagined world and the real one, where Alara still exists. Nail contacts Alara, breaking the news of Jem's demise. All of Jem's attempts to reach her fail, as the two worlds can't communicate. Jem is gone. Alara weeps, heartbroken, as her worst fear comes true. The mysterious child reappears to Jem. He is Jem's child, planted in Alara. Alara has accepted Jem's demise. She finds solace in the child, and together they make their way to the Blue Cave.